Revealed, how a rich woman's mud splash changed 10 lives forever, an incredible transformation. The warm sun glimmered gold over Maplewood, Ohio, on the day of the annual community festival. Laughter rang through the streets as families strolled by vibrant booths offering everything from handmade crafts to mouth-watering funnel cakes. The crisp air was filled with the sweet scent of cotton candy and the sizzling sounds of fried food, wrapping the town in a blanket of joy. Among the crowd, Lisa stood out like a diamond in a pile of rocks, a gorgeous woman in designer sunglasses and a bright red sundress. At 38, this self-made millionaire had it all: wealth, success, and a heart that allegedly beat for charity. Yet, amidst the jubilant festival atmosphere, she couldn't shake the feeling of disconnect. Her world was a fortress built high above the struggles of the people she yearned to help. Just as she turned to admire a colorful display of hand-painted signs, disaster struck. Her heel slipped into a muddy puddle, sending a geyser of muck splattering across the street, directly onto a group of 10 unsuspecting townsfolk. Gasps filled the air as laughter dissipated, replaced by shock and embarrassment. Among them was Susan, a single mother on the verge of losing her home, Tom, a veteran stuck in a dead-end job search, and Mrs. Green, a beloved teacher pouring her heart into her students while barely scraping by. That mud became a symbol, a grittier representation of their interconnected lives, now muddied through fate. Lisa stood frozen, the initial annoyance rising in her. How could they judge her? But as she scanned their faces' wrinkled brows, tight mouths, she felt the weight of their stares, each questioning her very existence. I'm so sorry," she stammered, instinctively reaching out with a polite smile. The townsfolk felt a mixture of anger and pity. They exchanged glances, translating the encounter into an unspoken pact of disdain towards the rich woman whose life was so different from theirs. Instead of retreating into her world of luxury, Lisa surprised herself. "I'm hosting a fundraiser for the local businesses next week. I'd like you all to come to, make amends." She swallowed hard, hoping her words would bridge the chasm that had just formed. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." When the night of the fundraiser arrived, the air was thick with anticipation. A full moon illuminated the square, but soon the harmonious notes of celebration turned sour. Tension crackled between the previously united townsfolk, old fears resurfacing over dampened hopes. Lisa found herself at the center of it all, watching as friendships fractured and words flew like daggers. Each harsh critique echoed the insecurities she'd held too long within herself. Would there ever be a way to truly connect with these people? Moments earlier, she envisioned herself as their savior, yet all she felt now was raw vulnerability. Chaos reignited, and Lisa stepped forward. Her heart raced, the ground beneath her seeming to quiver. "Look, I thought I could help, but I see now that I've been blind," she cried out. In that moment, both she and the townsfolk saw it. Life was messy, full of unexpected splashes and hidden depths. Could they find common ground, or was this just the start of deepening divides? With all these emotions swirling around, the story hung in the balance. An uncertain transformation lay ahead. The tension in the air was palpable, swirling like a thick fog around the crowd. Lisa's words hung between them, a fragile thread seeking to stitch together a fractured community. She scanned each face. Some were hardening in the face of her apology, while others softened at the vulnerability she displayed. "Blind?" Susan echoed, her brow furrowing. "You don't understand. We're not looking for pity or handouts." Her voice trembled, heavy with emotion. The mud wasn't simply a stain on clothes, it was a reminder of burdens that weighed down her heart and those of her neighbors. Lisa took a deep breath, feeling the vulnerability pierce through her polished exterior. "You're right, Susan. I don't understand. I've spent so long in a world surrounded by luxury and privilege, I never paused to listen. Encouraged by the stillness, she continued, I want to learn about your struggles, your stories, if you'll let me. Shockwaves rippled through the crowd. Tom stepped out from behind the group, his hands shoved deep in his pockets. You think one fancy event can fix everything? You're playing dress-up while we're in the trenches. His voice shook, a mix of frustration and something softer beneath it. Was that hope, perhaps? Lisa's heart sank but also sparked with a flicker of determination. No, I don't think one event can fix everything. But it's a start. If I need to wear the mud of my mistakes to shift this conversation, then let us do it. She took a step forward, her eyes sweeping over the crowd, locking onto Tom's fervent gaze. I want to use my resources to help create real change. But first, I need your guidance. What if we work together? Build something hand in hand? The words hung there, almost vibrant with their audacity. The townsfolk exchanged hesitant glances, surprised by the shift in her tone and the raw sincerity that surprised even Lisa herself. Mrs. Green, her apron slightly splattered with flour from earlier baking, was the first to speak. It's not just about money, Lisa. The kids in this town need to see hope. Her voice softened, adorned with kindness. We need role models, voices of encouragement, a support system. A spark ignited in Lisa's chest. Then let us build that support system. Together. I can help fund scholarships or programs that offer job training for people like Tom. Thoughts rushed through her. A music program for the kids, a mentorship program for single parents, where would it end? A tentative smile broke through Susan's tight lips. And real involvement, not just financial donations. Yes. I'll be right there in the trenches with you. That's what I'm asking for. I'll show up. Just let me learn from you. The murmur of voices turned from judgment to a cautious curiosity. Hope began to flicker, tiny and fragile yet refusing to be snuffed out. With every passing moment, tension lessened, allowing laughter and words of encouragement to fill the spaces where silence had once reigned. But just as the air shifted, drawn tight with promise, an unexpected voice rang out from the shadows. You think a few good intentions and a fundraiser will erase years of resentment? Everyone turned to see a familiar face, a disgraced banker disgraced by fraudulent schemes, someone who had left deep scars on the community during the financial crisis. Sudden dread settled in the pit of Lisa's stomach. Could the path to connection lead to deeper division? Was this cycle of despair simply waiting to restart? Lisa looked into the eyes of her neighbors, a mix of determination and apprehension churning within her. What had she truly opened herself up to? Was she ready to confront the deeper inequalities lurking beneath the surface? And as the moon lit the festival's square, the uncertainty loomed, inviting them all to delve deeper into the darkest corners of their lives together. The crowd stiffened at the banker's words, each face a canvas of emotions: confusion, anger, disbelief. Lisa felt frozen in place, a chill creeping down her spine at the realization that her intentions might not be enough. The night air felt heavy, almost suffocating. I know who you are, Tom finally said, stepping closer. His brow pinched as he regarded the man like a storm brewing over the horizon. You were part of the problem. Our problem. The banker moved into the flickering light, his expression unreadable. And you think because you have a grand idea and a checkbook, everything will change? You don't realize how deep the wounds go. Lisa caught her breath, her heart racing. She glanced back at Tom, who shifted restlessly, his hands still deep in his pockets. What do you know about us? About the days we spend just trying to make ends meet? A whisper passed through the crowd, tension crackling like static electricity. This was the moment that could either bind them together or tear them apart. I know plenty, the banker mocked, a sneer curling his lips. You're looking for someone to blame when you should be picking yourselves up by your bootstraps. You think we've never tried? Susan's voice pierced through the thickening air, shaking but strong. You think we don't want better? This isn't about blame. It's about healing. A ripple of agreement stirred among the crowd, heads nodding as if reawakening from a deep slumber. Lisa felt that small spark of hope again, growing in the fertile ground of shared pain and resilience. Maybe you're belittling isn't what we need right now, Lisa said, her voice steadier than she felt. We're not trying to erase the past. We want to move forward with it. I'd love to hear what you think could help us all heal. The banker glanced around, sensing the shift. For the first time, he looked uncertain, almost like a quivering leaf in the wind. You really believe you can change this place? Tom stepped forward, eyes fierce. What makes you think you're not part of the problem? You crashed lives, and now you think you can lecture us on pulling up our bootstraps? Lisa's heart raced. Now was the moment to break through the barriers of resentment that had festered for too long. How about we listen to each other? Everyone here has a story, including you. Let's start a dialogue instead of a battle. A hush fell over them, the weight of silence amplifying Lisa's heartbeat. The townsfolk were staring at the banker, their gazes heavy and searching. Mrs. Green stepped forward, offering a hesitant smile. Maybe we don't have to look at each other as enemies. We can teach each other about hope and failure. Hope is a nice concept, but the banker hesitated, glancing away. No more buts, Lisa interjected, her voice barely above a whisper yet charged with conviction. We all have to face our pasts and fears. Healing can only happen through honesty. Our honesty. The words settled in the air, thick like smoke. Slowly, the banker nodded, a flicker of recognition crossing his face. Fine, I'll listen. But you better believe it's not going to be easy. Nothing worth it ever is, Tom replied quietly. The crowd watched, their breaths held, sensing the change in momentum, a fragile bridge constructed moment by moment. Lisa felt a wave of determination wash over her. They were at a crossroads, facing the vast unknown, but for the first time that night, it felt like they could stand on the edge together. The night was only beginning, and the festival's music swelled around them in vibrant bursts, contrasting with the heaviness they had shared. As laughter erupted in the distance, nerves unraveled, and hesitant smiles began to bloom. But just as the mood lightened, an unexpected storm cloud resurfaced within Lisa. Had they truly made a turn, or was this just another facade, another moment hanging by the thinnest of threads? What awaited them all as they journeyed deeper into the fragile connection they were starting to forge? Suddenly, a loud splash broke the momentary tranquility that had settled over the crowd. Everyone turned to see a woman in a flowing white dress struggling to keep her balance, her heels sinking into the muddy ground beside the parade route. Laughter erupted around her as she stumbled, splashing mud not just on herself but on a few unsuspecting bystanders as well. Watch out! You might take somebody out with that thing. A man in the front row shouted, chuckling as he wiped his face in mock horror. The woman turned her head, her laughter infectious, and Lisa couldn't help but smile despite her earlier worries. There was something almost disarming about the chaos she brought, a reminder of how unpredictable life could be. Sorry. Guess I took a wrong turn on the way to a ballroom. She called out gleefully, straightening herself and flicking her hair. This is the real party, right? This impromptu moment of levity deflated the tension lingering in the air. The banker, now momentarily distracted, couldn't help the corners of his mouth from twitching upwards. Tom nudged Lisa, both of them sharing a relieved chuckle, as someone reached out to help the woman regain her footing. Lisa felt the weight on her shoulders lighten, bit by bit. Perhaps it was in these fleeting moments of laughter amidst the mud and muck that real connections could begin to take root. This woman, clumsy and whimsical, was a harbinger of change without even realizing it. Okay, back to our reality. Lisa said, trying to regain commitment to the conversation at hand. We have a lot of talking to do. We've taken the first step. Now, let us not waste it. The crowd nodded, some wiping tears from laughter while others exchanged glances filled with unspoken understanding. There was a simmering energy, a sort of shared resolve, that told Lisa they were more than ready to dive deeper. "All right," Tom said, glancing at the banker again. "You wanted to stay detached, but change is messy, just like this mud." He gestured toward the muddy scene. "It's what connects us, reminds us we're all human." The banker shifted uncomfortably, but didn't he retreat. "You think I don't see that?" he replied quietly. "But it's one thing to discuss healing, it's another to feel it." "Then feel it with us," Susan urged, her voice steady as ever. "We're willing to share our stories, the highs and lows. Maybe you'll find that you're not the only one carrying burdens." The banks of skepticism that surrounded the man began to thaw just a little. He seemed to sink into reflection, eyes gazing down at the mud beneath him, and for just a moment, he looked more like a participant than an observer. "I'm not perfect," he muttered, almost to himself. "Never claimed to be." "No one here is," Lisa said, the urgency in her voice rising. "But your presence here could change the narrative. If we can join together, we can reshape this town." Laughter and music pulsed around them, a bittersweet symphony echoing tales of past disappointments and hope for a brighter road ahead. Each beat felt like a heartbeat louder, pushing them toward a decision, a choice to be made. What if the banker, through all the intricacies, could unlock a piece of himself? What if the woman in white, with her muddy shoes, was the spark they all needed? "Let us not waste this night," Lisa finally said, glancing at the crowd, igniting a spark of determination in each of them. "Let us tell our stories. Together." And just as the crowd began to murmur agreements, a startling clap of thunder rolled overhead, transforming the atmosphere from light-hearted to serious in an instant. Would the storm merely pass, or would it wash them away entirely as they embarked on this quest to face their truths? What transformation awaited them as storms brewed both outside and within? The thunder echoed like a warning, a rumble that cascaded through the hearts of everyone gathered. As if on cue, the crowd's laughter dimmed, replaced by an anxious shuffling. Rain began to mix with the dirt, the first drops plummeting like an announcement of the storm to come. Lisa felt a surge of energy from the woman in white as she spun around, laughing again, this time at the rain itself. "Come on. It's just water. Let us dance," she shouted, and to Lisa's surprise, a few brave souls started to sway, arms outstretched, embracing the unpredictable moment. Watching them, Lisa felt a shift. It was as if the storm outside mirrored the tempest of emotions brewing within the group. Would they let the rain wash away their fears, or would they cling to the past, allowing it to drown them instead? "Maybe this is exactly what we need," Tom said, stepping closer to Lisa, his voice full of conviction. "This storm, it can clear out the old stuff. Clean the slate." There was a sincerity in his eyes that made Lisa's heart beat a little faster. The banker stood still, his brow furrowed as raindrops began to soak through his tailored shirt. But rather than retreat, he raised his chin slightly, an imperceptible move that hinted at his willingness to engage. Was the storm softening his defenses? Nearby, Susan stepped forward, her arms now raised in welcome toward the rain. "Let it wash over us. Let us stand in this together." Her enthusiasm broke through like sunlight piercing the clouds, urging others to join. With renewed spirit, Lisa grabbed Tom's hand. "You're right. Let us not wait for the storm to pass. Let us make our story in the middle of it." More hands joined theirs, forming a small circle amid the chaos, a sanctuary against the tumult. As the rain poured down, laughter filtered through the crowd again, this time tinged with exhilaration. The clumsy woman started to twirl in her muddy dress, her joy infectious. Suddenly, Lisa realized this wasn't just about her. It was about all of them. People with their own stories, burdens, and hopes. "We're not perfect," she called out, her voice rising above the rain. "We're messy, and that's okay. Let us share our victories and our failures." A murmur of agreement spread as one by one, voices started to rise from the crowd. A man shared about losing his job and finding solace in his family's love. Someone else talked about fighting addiction and how the community's support helped them heal. The banker listened, and Lisa noticed how his shoulders relaxed, his lips moving slightly as if he wanted to speak but held back. Emboldened by the rain, she invited him, "What about you? What have you been holding back?" The crowd quieted, eyes turning toward the banker. It was a moment thick with anticipation. Could he step into this circle of vulnerability? But just as he seemed ready to break the surface, another crack of thunder sounded, stealing the moment. The energy shifted again, fear creeping back as if the storm were a foe that threatened to sweep them away. "What if I can't?" he uttered, almost inaudibly, but enough for them all to hear. "What if you can?" Lisa countered, her heart racing. "What's the worst that can happen?" An unexpected silence fell. The rain poured harder, soaking through their clothes and washing away the barriers. Would he step forward, or retract back into his shell? The storm had begun, but this was just the beginning of their stories unfolding. Could a shared moment of vulnerability create a storm of change? As the tension thickened like the dark clouds above, the question hung heavy in the air: would someone finally break through the silence, or would they let the storm decide their fate? The crowd held its breath, the rain drenching them in a shared vulnerability. It was as if time stood still. One voice stood poised to break through the tension, but instead, the thunder rolled again, a low growl, reminding them of nature's power in chaos. Then, unexpectedly, the banker stepped forward. His face was shadowed by the rain, his eyes glinting with something deeper than fear. "I've always felt I had to be perfect," he began, his voice shaking but gaining strength. "In my job, in my life. I thought if I showed weakness, people would see me differently." A soft gasp rippled through the circle. Lisa felt her heart leap. Had he really taken that first step? The intimacy of the storm wrapped around them, urging him to continue. "But the truth is," he continued, his voice now steady enough for them all to hear, "I'm just as lost as any of you." He ran a hand through his hair, slick with rain, revealing the struggle beneath his carefully crafted facade. "I lost a friend last year. He took a road I didn't understand. I didn't know how to help." "My God," whispered a woman nearby. "You're human, like all of us. You're allowed to feel." The banker nodded, a flicker of pride warming his soul. "I put on a mask. I thought if I just stayed focused, buried myself in work, I could forget that pain. But here I am, standing in the rain, and it's liberating. This storm, it's washing away the weight." The rain continued to pour, but it felt lighter somehow. Maybe it was the first crack of light breaking through the storm clouds above, or maybe it was the warmth of connection igniting a fire within their hearts. Lisa exchanged glances with Tom. She could see he felt it too. "One mistake doesn't define any of us," Tom added. "You don't have to wear that mask here. We're all a bit rough around the edges." Several people nodded, even the banker's initial target audience. The judgmental glances from others and their expressions softened. Hope really was spreading through them like the rain. "I miss him," the banker confessed, the words falling heavy in the haze of rain. "I wish I had acted differently. Something to make him feel less alone." His voice broke, but in sharing his vulnerability, he released the grip of shame he had clung to for so long. A woman in the back spoke up. "It's not too late. You can honor his memory. Be the friend you wish you had been. Change lives. Start with us." The sounds of agreement rippled through the group. Lisa felt energy surge, spirits lifting as rain cascaded around them. Everyone was willing to embrace their imperfections. Each sacrifice, each struggle offered a path to healing. "Let's do this together," Lisa shouted, breaking through the renewing silence, and everyone erupted in cheers. The banker smiled, and she could see the light of determination flicker in his eyes. "Hey, what if we make this a regular thing?" urged Susan. "Support each other, meet here every week, rain or shine." The storm suddenly made sense to Lisa. It wasn't just water, it was a baptism of sorts, washing away the heaviness, allowing new growth to sprout. Everyone had shown up tonight, struggling and fearful, and yet they still stood united in this fierce embrace. Now, they were ready to face the world, not as individuals drowning in sorrow, but as a community igniting change. But just as laughter filled the air and hope danced like the raindrops around them, a loud clap of thunder cut through, and a flash of lightning lit the sky. "Did you see that?" Tom exclaimed. "Did it change anything, or just our perspective?" The answer lingered as they watched the swirling clouds above, still raw and uncertain. What would happen when the storm passed? As the echoes of thunder faded, the group remained huddled together, a bubble of shared resolve creating warmth even in the chill of the downpour. Lisa watched as the banker wiped his tears, mixing raindrops with his pain, and felt that the storm had ignited something deeper within all of them. While the rain continued to fall, it was as if it had transformed into a shimmering veil rather than a barrier. "Can you imagine," Susan spoke up, her eyes sparkling with fervor, "if we actually took this beyond tonight? What if we pushed the limits of this moment?" Tom nodded earnestly, "Absolutely. We could partner with local organizations, offer workshops, or even group therapy, whatever it takes. Let us get the word out." Excitement built in the air, and the rain seemed like a soundtrack to their budding ideas. They began to brainstorm initiatives, community dinners, support groups, and fun activities that could tackle their struggles while fostering connection. It felt like they were carving a new path, one where they could embrace their vulnerabilities, a place where laughter mingled with tears. Each plan ignited fervor, sparking energy. "Imagine this place, a safe haven," Lisa murmured, gazing out into the downpour. It was a vision that made her heart race. Each suggestion swirled around them, lifting spirits higher and higher. But just as hope surged, another flash of lightning illuminated the sky, revealing a woman outside the circle, her figure silhouetted against the storm's wrath. She appeared lost, her clothes splattered with mud and rain, her eyes wide with confusion. "Hey!" Lisa called, concern flooding her voice. "Are you all right?" The woman hesitated, as if deciding whether to step closer to the warmth of the group. I heard you all," and her voice trembled but held an underlying strength. I need help." As the crowd fell silent, the weight of her admission hung in the air. Nothing brought them to attention like vulnerability, it was a thread that tightly bound them in that moment. Of course, Lisa stepped forward, instinctively reaching out her hand. "You're safe here. We've all been through something, and you're not alone." The stranger's eyes glistened with unshed tears. She stepped into the circle. As she did, the energy shifted, a collective commitment igniting among them. Tom took a step forward, handing the woman a dry towel. "I'm Tom," he said. "No one has to go through this alone. We're here for you." As the woman accepted the towel, Lisa felt the suffocating fear sweep away, replaced instead by a burgeoning possibility. This was the change they envisioned, raw, honest, and impactful. "Look around," the banker said, taking a deep breath. "We are all here together, unafraid." The rain continued to fall, yet for the first time, it felt less daunting. They were standing at the edge of something transformative. A community was emerging before the storm, but not just of them weaving into it was everyone they would touch, just like this woman who now shivered with newfound hope. As the rain pelted their skin, Lisa felt her heart quicken, racing with visions of what this could evolve into. They could make a significant difference. But then, a thought broke through the fog of excitement: what if their actions were put to the ultimate test? Suddenly, another thunderclap boomed, echoing the challenge of the unknown. What happens if we succeed? She wondered aloud, though a small voice in her head lingered on the possibility of failure. As they all stood together, ready to embrace the unknown, the only certainty seemed to be that change was coming, and there was no turning back now. What would they discover as they ventured forward? Would their bonds remain strong when real challenges began? Only time would tell. The woman took a deep breath, the towel wrapped around her shoulders like a fragile shield against the rain. "My name is Clara," she said, her voice steadier now. I was caught in the storm, both literally and figuratively. Lisa stepped closer, her eyes warm and inviting. You're not alone anymore, Clara. We're all seeking something better here. Tell us what you feel. Clara glanced at the faces surrounding her. There was something comforting about their expressions, a shared understanding that transcended words. I lost everything, she whispered, her voice cracking. My job, my family, I don't know how to start over. The group shifted, a wave of empathy washing over them. Tom nodded, determination igniting in his chest. We each have our scars. Your fears matter here. We will find a way to help you and others who feel the same. Susan leaned forward, her passion undeterred. Let us talk about how we can create a community that lifts people up, starting right now with Clara. This is about resilience, about creating a network of strength. Clara wiped her eyes, blinking as if suddenly awakened. But what can we really do? The world feels so impossibly big. Exactly the opposite, Clara. The banker chimed in, excitement bubbling at the edges of his words. We start small. Every single one of us has been through rough waters. Together, we can form a lifeline. The storm around them raged on, but their spirits blossomed like wildflowers breaking free through cracks in concrete. Lisa felt her heart pounding fiercely in her chest. Hope surged through the group, transforming the downpour into a backdrop of potential. What if we held weekly meetups? Tom suggested, his enthusiasm infectious. A safe spot where people could share stories, just like this. A place to rebuild. Absolutely. Community dinners where we can share meals, laughter, and support, Susan added, her eyes shining with ideas. We could even create a mentorship program away for those who have risen from their struggles to guide others. Nothing is too small if it connects us, Clara said, wiping her eyes with the towel. As tears fell, a smile began to spread across her face, bright against the storm-esque gloom. Finding unity in their determination, each word spoke of healing. They tossed around ideas until every face glowed with a fierce conviction that this small moment could grow into something big. But just then, a loud crash echoed in the distance, jolting them back to reality. A tree, struck by lightning, had fallen nearby. The group gasped, hearts racing as fear washed over them. Was anyone hurt? Lisa asked, her voice trembling. No, it just missed the houses, Tom said, relief flooding his voice, but the sudden jolt fractured their moment of joy. Okay, this is a reminder that danger is real, but so is our resolve, the banker declared, his voice rising above the storm. If we want change, we'll need strength. Together. Clara's heart raced, and for the first time, she believed it was possible to bounce back. What if we helped others who might be afraid to step into the light? Then we need to act fast, Tom asserted, optimism lighting up his eyes. With the rain continuing to drench them, they stood, a circle of warriors ready to tackle the chaos outside. And in that moment, as they banded together under the waterfall of uncertainty, Lisa felt that this was more than just a mission, this was a family being born. But what would happen when challenges emerged from the shadows, testing their new bonds? What would they uncover as real struggles impacted their fragile dreams? With uncertainty hanging in the air, they leaned into the storm, ready to chase their vision forward. Clara took a step forward, the rain cascading like a curtain around her. She looked at the eager faces, the shared energy buzzing in the air. I think I want to try, she murmured, her voice gaining strength. Let us do this, together. Tom grinned, raising his arms as if inviting the storm to witness their resolve. Yes. We'll find a way to make our ideas happen. Weekly meetups, community dinners, mentorship, it starts with us. The wind howled, but their voices broke through. With every plan shared, Clara felt buoyed, like a raft rising against waves. The thought of not being alone, of facing this new life with a community, set a fire in her heart. I could help organize the community dinners, Susan offered, brimming with excitement. We can work together on recipes, share family favorites. Food has a way of bringing people together. I can set up a Facebook group. Lisa exclaimed, her fingers already tapping away at her phone. We can spread the word, invite people, and create an online space for support. The ideas flowed like the rain, each one building on the last. Clara felt lighter, as if the weight of her troubles was slowly fading. They were no longer just strangers caught in a storm, they were a team. But just as Clara was about to speak, another loud crash jolted them. This time, it was closer, a loud roar that made her heart drop. What now? She gasped, her mind racing. Stay calm. Tom shouted over the roar of the storm, eyes darting. We need to check what that was. They moved as a group, pushing through the rain. The branches of nearby trees whipped fiercely, creating shadows that danced like specters around them. Clara's stomach churned, but she held her ground, fueled by the resolve of those around her. They reached the edge of the property and were met with an alarming sight. A massive tree, not struck by lightning but ripped from the ground, lay sprawled across the road leading into town. Leaves and branches were spread everywhere like debris from a battle. Is anyone trapped? Susan's voice quivered with urgency as she scanned the area, searching for signs of life. No, just damage, Tom said, relief tinged with tension. But this is bad. What if it blocks others from getting through? We might need to help. Clara nodded, her heart pounding. What if we organize a cleanup? She suggested, her voice steadier. Let us find volunteers, clear the path, and show the community we're here to support each other. The group exchanged glances, fire returning to their eyes. They were warriors now, stepping up for their neighbors. Let us do it. Lisa declared, her excitement infectious. We can gather as many people as we can. It could be our first community event. With newfound determination, they stepped back into the rain, adrenaline pumping through their veins. Clara took a deep breath, looking at the tree blocking their path. This can either stop us or start something better. Let us make it the latter. As the storm raged on, they rallied around their first challenge, a chaotic pile of wood and leaves threatening their dreams. They were on the brink of something powerful, and Clara felt the swell of courage rise inside her. But would they be ready for the unexpected complications ahead? What obstacles would test their resolve as they began to transform their vision into reality? With the rain still pouring down in heavy sheets, the group surrounded the tree like a battalion of hopeful soldiers ready for battle. Clara felt her pulse quicken. This was no longer just about a fallen tree, this was their first test, a physical manifestation of every challenge they faced together as a community. Okay, everyone. Let us move it. Lisa shouted, her voice slicing through the incessant noise of the storm. She grabbed onto a sturdy branch, wading through the mud like a warrior. Tom positioned himself on the opposite side, grinning despite the chaos. Let us lift together. 1, 2, 3. On 3, arms pulled, muscles engaged, and together they heaved the tree, trying to clear a path for the folks who might need it. With each grunt and groan, Clara felt the strength of their combined determination. Keep going. We can do this. She shouted, adrenaline surging. People from around the neighborhood began to trickle in, drawn by the sounds of enthusiastic shouts and the echoing cracks of thunder. As they saw the community at work, more joined neighbors suddenly united by a vision they had just begun to forge. Need a hand? A familiar voice called out. It was Mrs. Green, her eyes sparkling with energy. She led a group of teachers, already forming an assembly line of branches, snapping them off the larger trunk. Let us stretch our arms, folks. We can do this together. Mrs. Green cheered, revealing the resilience that had always been part of her teaching spirit. Clara stood back, awe swelling in her chest. This was magic. The storm outside was fierce, but the spirit inside that gathering grew wilder. With each branch lifted and moved, it felt like they were clearing away not just the debris, but also the weight of their individual struggles. As hours flew by, laughter echoed amongst the rain, reviving the energy lost under the weight of worry for far too long. They piled the branches higher. When something snapped, they groaned loudly, but each uproar turned into a cascade of laughter, reminiscent of shared stories. "I can't believe we're actually doing this," Clara exclaimed, her cheeks flushed with excitement as she caught Lisa's eye. "It feels incredible. This storm has forced us to find our strength." Lisa finished, jumping right back into the fray, her enthusiasm contagious. But just as they began to feel the satisfaction of accomplishment, the air thickened. A heavy branch above cracked ominously, warning them. Clara's heart raced in her chest, and she stepped back, the concern tightening her throat. "Everyone! Watch out!" Tom shouted, his voice rising above the din. In an instant, the world slowed as the branch came crashing down. Clara gasped. But just as fear started to grip her, Tom lunged forward, pushing another volunteer out of the way. The weight of the branch fell to the ground with a thundering crash, missing them by mere inches. "Are you okay?" Clara's heart raced as she rushed to Tom, panic tightening her chest. He shook himself, startled but unharmed. Yeah. Just a close call." Liz ran to check on a few others around him, a spark illuminating her eyes. "That could have ended badly. But look at us together. We've dodged something big, just like that." As they collected their breath, a warmth began to spread through Clara again. "We just faced down that storm together. If we can survive this, we can weather anything. Let us keep celebrating every moment in this fight." Cheers broke out through the crowd, and as the rain continued to dissipate, the air shifted. Each glance, every smile conveyed every ounce of the respect and resilience they were building together. They were inseparable now, a bond forged through mud, rain, and shared vulnerability. "We need a name," someone in the crowd shouted, and excitement surged again. "No more us and them. We are one big, messy family," Clara called, joy bubbling within her as ideas began to spark. "What about Maplewood Rising? Or the Storm Warriors?" Lisa added, and the choir of voices chimed in with thoughts flowing like the rain around them. Amidst the chaos, the branches became a symbol, bright and alive, representing a united front against any storm that might darken their doorsteps in the future. Clara felt a fire igniting inside. This was just the beginning. But as the storm dwindled, an unspoken fear lingered. Would they truly stay together when the skies cleared? Would their newfound connection withstand the trials that lay ahead? The energy hung in the air like static electricity, the answer uncertain, yet filled with the promise of possibility. Only time could tell where this journey would lead them, but in that moment, encircled by shared laughter and inspiration, Clara believed that together, they could conquer anything the world tossed their way. And so they forged ahead, day by day, hand in hand, proving that even through the heaviest storms, transformation blooms in the most unexpected of places. But now, this was a call and invitation to every eye watching. Your story matters too. Join this journey. Be part of Maplewood Rising. And as the last raindrops dripped away, a daring thought echoed through their hearts. The real adventure had only just begun. So subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, every click makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about this incredible transformation. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this journey of change. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting it.